تعبانة جدا جدا، لأنه تلقى علاج أول حاجة غالي وذاته خدمات ممتازة كده للناس العيانين ما في. على سبيل المثال من مستشفى جوبا ده يعني أنت بتلقى مستشفى كويس من برا، لكن من جوا في صعوبات بتاع علاجات، بنادول بقروش، سبترين بقروش غالي، أي نوع دواء تشتري إذا بتدفع قروش أكثر من كده. الرسالة بتاعت الحكومة كان بقى دكاترة بنفوسهم بقى قاعدين نعمل مبادرة كده، إنتوا كحكومة ولا وزارة الصحة لدوركم شنو؟ لما تخلي مستشفى زي مستشفى جوبا ده فعادي ما عنده دوايات، دوركم شنو إنتوا كحكومة؟ حاجات زي وزارة الصحة، وزارة التربية والتعليم، ووزارة الطرق، ده من وزارات الحساس من المفترض حكومة ينظر عنه. ما في وزارة الدفاع ووزارة الزراعة، ده كله كان موفر في بلد بيكون كويس.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. U.S. delegates have called for peace and stability as prerequisite for investment in South Sudan during a meeting with the National Minister of Trade and Industry at Wol Mapal. The Minister of Transport, Zakaria Hassan, has dismissed claims that the government has made the use of railway transport mandatory and that traders are being unfairly charged high storage fees and given too little time to clear their goods at the port of Mombasa. And the governor of Warabi State, Ambassador Bolweg, has called for accelerated development across the states to help ease the growing pressure on the national capital, Juba. Tune in for these stories and more coming to you in the news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal, and now the news in detail. U.S. delegates have called for peace and stability as a prerequisite for investment in South Sudan during a meeting with the National Minister of Trade and Industry at Wol Mapal. The delegation led by His Excellency Michael J. Hadler, the U.S. ambassador to South Sudan, made the call during a meeting on Monday in Juba aimed at strengthening bilateral relations and advancing economic reforms. Ambassador Hadler emphasized that a secure and peaceful environment remains essential for U.S. businesses seeking to invest and operate in the country. The discussions, according to a statement on the Ministry of Trade's Facebook page, focused on deepening economic cooperation between South Sudan and the United States, with particular attention on improving the business climate to attract foreign investment. The U.S. delegation also raised concerns over the security of humanitarian assets, citing recent incident in Jonglei State in which the U.S. vehicles were looted and destroyed. The delegation underscored the importance of effective management of national revenues to ensure the timely payment of civil servants. In response, Minister Tong welcomed the delegation and expressed appreciation for the United States' continued engagement. She acknowledged the damage to U.S. humanitarian assistance and assured the delegation that the government is taking steps to improve security conditions across the country. Minister Tong also outlined the ministry's plans to diversify the economy by reducing reliance on oil, support micro, small and medium enterprises, and expand financial inclusion through improved access to financial services and institutional capacity building. The Minister of Transport, Zakaria Hassan, has dismissed claims that the government has made the use of railway transport mandatory and that traders are being unfairly charged high storage fees and given too little time to clear their goods at the port of Mombasa. In speaking to iRadio this morning, Minister Rizk said the current challenges facing traders are due to misunderstandings about the operations of container freight stations, commonly known as CFS, and not new government policies. He said his ministry is working to streamline cargo handling and improve trade efficiency. According to the minister, a technical committee formed under his leadership reviewed the 5 companies previously authorized to handle South Sudanese cargo in Mombasa. The review found that some of the companies were either non-existent or lacked capacity to manage the country's freight.
Committee assessed the eligibilities of the companies. They came with empirical evidence. The first aspect, 2 companies are not existing. They are not in existence in Mombasa. So we can give them whatever names that we are using in such companies because they are not there. Even the doesn't hold signboard there in Mombasa. You see, they are not present. Let me say it in a nutshell. automatically those companies will be put off. That is the challenge for the state company. Automatically, the 3 companies are eligible, incapable to manage the South Sudanese fried containers. Then the remaining 2 companies are Autoport and Compact. Yes, those are the eligible 2 companies. They have the capability, they have the facilities, and they can operate. And Autoport, they are managing, let me say, the whole of East Africa. Compact also, they have their facilities. Those are the most eligible companies which have been recommended by committee. And that is what we took it over. Whoever complains there in Mombasa and talks about congestion, we cannot talk about congestions and refer it to the suspended companies.
Rizik said the 2 approved companies are capable of managing South Sudanese cargo and urged traders to plan their logistics properly to avoid unnecessary delays. On the grace period for clearing goods, the minister maintained that the 14-day period is adequate for any well-prepared business person. Rizik dismissed claims that the use of railway transport from Mombasa to Nairobi is mandatory, saying it remains optional and cheaper for those who chose it.
What you should understand is this. You as a business person, and you have shipped your freight, let me assume it from the UAE or Qatari or from the Gulf or China. That means you should be connecting with the shipping lines. That is such that your containers will arrive to Mombasa. That you have to put it in your accounts. Then also you should be ready, because 14 days is more than enough for you to remove your goods from the CFS. 14 days are more than enough for you to remove your goods, unless that you are not ready. You see, railway costs usually is more cheaper than truck, usually. And they are optional. If you want to ferry your goods by lorry, that is your own. It's not mandatory to that sense, because we are not managing trains, we are managing CFS. We are managing a container freight station in Mombasa.
Rizik also addressed the high container security fee charged by shipping lines, saying South Sudanese traders currently pay $5,000 per container, an amount higher than what is charged in neighboring countries. The minister assured that his ministry is in talks with the Kenya Ports Authority and the Kenya Marine Authority to have the fee reduced. He urged South Sudanese traders to be realistic, cooperate with authorities, and take responsibility for timely clearance of their goods, adding that the government is committed to easing trade and reducing costs at the port. The governor of Warabi State, Ambassador Bolwek, has called for accelerated development across the states to help ease the growing pressure on the national capital, Juba. Ambassador Bolwek believed that once the states are adequately resourced to drive infrastructure development, the strain on the capital, Juba, will be alleviated. He further said that such investment would foster greater productivity across the country. Governor Wek also emphasized the importance of productivity through industrial development to address unemployment. He made the remarks after meeting with the governor of Central Equatorial State, Emmanuel Adil, on Monday.
Discuss a number of things that states need to be strengthened, because this is where majority of people are. If we actually empower a state with resources to build infrastructure, roads, create markets, and the rest, the pressure in Central Equatoria will ease, and that will create productivity. People will think of what they can do to earn a living, what they will produce. South Sudan need to be a productive country. South Sudan need to start industrial processes, and actually we have already sources that we can turn to be industrial in a small scale, and this is what will keep our people engaged. And our people sitting under trees criticizing government all the time.
The Ministry of Health has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening collaboration with the International Rescue Committee as discussions continue on expanding health services across South Sudan. Minister of Health Sarah Kleto-Rial made the remarks during a meeting in Juba with an IRC delegation led by Country Director Richard Orengo. The meeting reviewed ongoing IRC supported health programs and explored opportunities for deeper cooperation with the ministry, particularly in undeserved counties and states. Minister Rial commended the organization for its continued support to the health sector adding that the engagement represents an important step toward coordinated planning for the year ahead.
Brief us about the work that IRC is doing right now, especially working very closely with the Ministry of Health in general. A really commendable work that the IRC is doing, and we are grateful. And this meeting is to just beginning this new year to see how we are going to start the new year and work together in collaboration to continue strengthening our relationship, and also to get to know all the different departments and all the work and where, in which counties, in which states that they are working, and the type of programs that they're doing. We as the Republic of South Sudan, through the Minister of Health, are very grateful to the work of the IRC, or International Rescue Committee in South Sudan.
For his part, IRC Country Director Richard Orengo described the meeting as an opportunity to reaffirm the partnership between IRC and the Ministry of Health.
So today was a courtesy call to the Honorable Minister to discuss the collaboration between IRC and the Ministry of Health on the health programs that IRC is implementing to support families and communities in South Sudan. So we really appreciate the collaboration, the welcome, and the courtesy we have received today, and we look forward to strengthening the work that we are doing.
The Ministry of Health recognized IRC's contribution to improving access to healthcare services and stressed the importance of ongoing coordination to address public health needs across the country. This is iRadio News. South Sudan is hosting the 10th Internal Audit Conference for East African Community Central Banks, taking place in Juba. The event, which started yesterday, will conclude on Wednesday and brings together delegates from Somalia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Kenya. The conference focuses on data governance, digital maturity, and strengthening governance, risk, and compliance frameworks as central banks across the region undergo digital transformation. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Bank of South Sudan Governor Johnny Ohisa Damian thanked ESC partner staffs for choosing South Sudan as the host country. He emphasized the growing importance of internal auditing in the digital age, noting that audit functions must evolve to provide insights that support innovation and strengthen digital systems. Governor Damian said the conference provides a platform for sharing experiences aimed at enhancing digital governance and financial integration, boosting public trust, and supporting sustainable economic growth. First Deputy Governor for Policy and Banking, Yang Mikaya, welcomed the delegates and encouraged them to engage in discussions that will positively impact the regional economy. Abraham Dudatem, Director of the BOS Internal Audit Department, called for cooperation among East African Community member states, adding that internal auditors play a proactive role in strengthening institutional frameworks. The event is being held under the theme Reimagining Internal Audit in the Digital Era to Drive Transformation. This is iRadio News. And now to the international stories. Here is my colleague Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Wol Mapal, making headlines on the global stage. The United Nations spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric has announced the launch of $852 million humanitarian needs and response plan for Somalia, which is said is 40% less than last year and aims to support 2.4 million people. At Monday's briefing, Dujarric stressed that the reduction in funding is due to constrained resources, not reduced humanitarian needs. He said there will be significant gaps in essential services, as less than half of those in need of humanitarian aid will be able to receive help under the 2026 plan. Elsewhere, Sudan's gold industry, a key source of foreign currency, is reeling under ongoing conflict, infrastructure damage, and collapsing trade ties. The price of gold is hitting record highs, but gold traders in Sudan are missing out. The country is one of Africa's leading gold producers and exporters, but conflict, infrastructure damage, and collapsing trade ties mean the country has seen its vital gold industry suffering severe setbacks. Mohammed Al-Swakni, head of the Gold Industry Association in Sudan's Red Sea state, says the current market is incredibly difficult. It's a heavy blow to the gold sector. Finally, the European Union and India have announced a landmark trade deal after nearly 2 decades of on-off talks, as both sides aim to deepen ties amid tensions with the US. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen posted on X after meeting Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi, saying they have concluded the mother of all deals, calling the deal historic. It will allow free trade of goods between the bloc of 27 European states and the world's most populous country, which together make up nearly 25% of global gross domestic product and a market of 2 billion people. The pact is expected to significantly reduce tariffs and expand market access for both sides. That's all making headlines on the global stage. Back to you, Wol Mapal.
Thank you so much, Lesuba Memo, for the international and regional update. And to the world of sport, we are joined live by Darlington Moses.
Thank you so much, Wol Mapal. In the world of sport, we are starting with home news as the 2025-2026 South Sudan Premier League season unfolds. Midweek and late week matches promise to influence the battle for positions across the table. Olympic FC currently 11th in the Premier League standings with 11 points from 13 matches, will this afternoon host 9th place Corium FC, who have gathered 17 points from 13 games. Both sides are looking to climb the table, with Olympic aiming to end a difficult round of results and Corium hoping to edge closer to mid-table security. Their clash at the home ground could prove decisive in the respective pushes for better placings as the season progresses. Meanwhile, 10th place Salam FC will, with 12 points from 13 matches, will tomorrow face 6th placed Wajuma FC, who have collected 19 points from 13 games in their outings. Salama will be determined to arrest their slides and secure a confidence-boosting result at home. Wajuma, sitting comfortably in the top half and pushing toward the upper tier of the table, will look to consolidate their points tally with a positive performance. Newcastle United produced a statement performance in the UEFA Champions League, thumping PSV Eindhoven 3-0 at St James Park to boost their hopes of progressing from the group's phase. Johanne Wissa opened the scoring in his first start of the competitions, with Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes adding goals as the Magpies controlled proceedings throughout. The win kept Newcastle level on points with Paris Saint-Germain in the battle for a top 8 finish in the new UCL League phase format, setting up a crucial February playoff encounter. Liverpool's season has sparked heated discussions, with pundit Jamie Carragher warning that the Reds could struggle to secure Champions League qualification under manager Arne Slot. A recent defeat to Bournemouth left Liverpool 6th in the Premier League, placing pressure on Slot and fueling speculation over his future if the club misses out on Europe's elite competition. Critics cited Liverpool's defensive vulnerabilities, particularly on set pieces and against counter-attacks, as evidence that the squad may not be equipped for both domestic and European demands this term. This is all in the world of sport, and back to you, Wol Mapal.
Vote of thanks, Darlington Moses, for the sport updates, and here brings us to the end of news this afternoon. But first, let's have a quick recap of our top stories once again. US delegates have called for peace and stability as a prerequisite for investment in South Sudan during a meeting with the National Minister of Trade and Industry, Wol Mapal. The Minister of Transport, Rizk Zakaria Hassan, has dismissed claims that the government has made the use of railway transport mandatory and that traders are being unfairly charged high storage fees and given too little time to clear their goods at the port of Mombasa. And finally, the governor of Warabi State, Ambassador Bolweg, has called for accelerated development across the states to help ease the growing pressure on the national capital, Juba. That is the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online, www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 1/2 past the hour. I am Wol Mapal. Thanks for listening.